Hi everyone, I'm Sakura and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're going to be reacting to Michelin Pancakes at Home by Fellow. Um, I haven't seen this yet. I was going to, but I got caught up with other stuff. So we're going to react to it together today. But before we get into it, if you like my reactions and my content, hit the like button and subscribe because every little bit helps me make more of these videos. With that said, let's get into it.
Everybody thinks they've got the best pancake recipe. In my experience, they're normally fluffy at the beginning, but then
I love pancakes, but personally, I use Aunt Jemima's pancake mix, Aunt Jemima Pearl Milling Company, whatever you want to call it. Those are my favorite pancakes.
they often get soggy over time. This is a Michelin-inspired recipe that eliminates all those problems and gives you the lightest, fluffiest pancakes without question. Okay, so one of the most requested recipes on the channel, and also I will say probably one of the things I actually make the most at home.
I don't think I've ever made pancake from scratch. That's too much work. Maybe on a weekend, but even then, I usually go with what I know and what I like and just cook like that.
So this is my ultimate pancake recipe. I used to make buttermilk pancakes for my kids every weekend until I found this method. And the reason I found it is because I went to a restaurant for breakfast, and it was probably one of the best experiences of my life. The restaurant is called Pavilion, and it's in one of the most affluent areas in London, but they have nailed breakfast. There is no better place to go for breakfast other than...
No, I think the best place to go for breakfast is, IHOP or something like that. IHOP, Denny's, something where they specialize in breakfast.
And we've kind of been playing around with it for a while to make it the best pancake recipe we could possibly do, as well as trying pancakes from the Golden Diner as well, which is kind of the most viral one in New York. And this is what we've come up with. So it's a at-home version of a Michelin star pancake recipe. And
yeah, I feel like there's no need to there's really no need to go to a really expensive restaurant to have really, really good pancakes. Because I feel like if you go to one of those fancy places for food, they add all this weird stuff and I just want pancakes, dude. So I just I go to Denny's or IHOP or just make my own at home. Or sometimes even McDonald's. McDonald's breakfast. Even though it has like a bajillion calories, it's worth it. It tastes good.
I'm absolutely chuffed with it. And one of the main problems that we get with pancakes, they're really great when you cook them straight away and they're beautifully fresh. But within, minutes, they typically lose a lot of fluffiness and a lot of lightness. There's a couple of techniques and methods in this recipe that helps to sort of secure structural integrity of the pancake. 8 cold egg whites in a bowl, lemon juice. So we are whisking up these egg whites with lemon juice. The acid inside the lemon juice basically stabilizes and makes it more voluminous. So same way like an acid in a sourdough sort of helps to add structure and sort of stability to the gluten proteins.
I mean, I don't doubt these Michelin star pancakes. Um, I don't doubt that they taste good. They probably taste awesome, but I'm not going to pay however much they're asking for. You know? I'd rather go to the humble places, the diners and the IHOPs and the Denny's and places like that. It's humble, the food's good, and you know, that's all I really care about. Now, if I had the money or you know, I can afford to go to a Michelin star breakfast, but I feel like there's no point in doing that unless it's like some kind of special occasion or something. You know? I feel like Saturday breakfast isn't really a special occasion. I'm talking maybe like weddings or something, you know, that calls for a fancy breakfast.
It's exactly the same with lemon juice and egg white. Sometimes we can over whip a meringue or a French meringue base. Lemon juice actually elongates the time that you can whip it for without it kind of splitting and collapsing. Might as well say this is one of the techniques I learned from a really good old school show by Raymond Blanc. We always see people whisking like this, but it makes your arm tired really quickly. So if you want to if you know you're sort of strapping in to do some long whisking jobs, hold your whisk like this, and then basically just let the whisk go back and forward, and you'll basically be able to whisk for 10 times longer than you would normally. I'm going to do this, unbelievably, as a sacrifice to you guys at home, by hand. I would normally use electric mixer, but my producer said it's not as accessible. Don't know who doesn't have a KitchenAid out there, but apparently that's a thing. Alright, so that's been whisking.
I think most people at home have some kind of mixer, whether it's like one of those hand mixers, those hand electric mixers, or a KitchenAid or something like that. I feel like most people, at least in the US, do have some kind of mixer. Now me, I hand mix everything with a whisk. I've made, you know, whipped cream like that and stuff. So I do it by hand, but yeah, if I think most people actually do have some kind of mixer at home.
For around about 8 minutes. This is what we call, you know, soft peaks. It's not really stiff, but it kind of doesn't move around when you wiggle it around. We're going to add our sugar. So we've got some caster sugar in here. So add half the sugar, whisk it for a little bit of time, and then add the rest. Now then, this mix, without sort of being stabilized in some way, just would completely...
I mean, I make something like that with heavy cream and powdered sugar, and it certainly doesn't take as long as 8 minutes or however minutes he says it takes.
To be honest, it completely deflates. So the way that you stabilize that, and this is quite common sometimes with meringues as well, is by using a little bit of cornstarch. So cornstarch goes in, and then continue to whisk until we have nice firm peaks. Perfect example of a stiff peak. It should hold its shape perfectly. But what you'll see from this is all of this effort is being put to make these pancakes as fluffy as possible and also to hold that level of...
But he's also not making whipped cream, so I guess that point is kind of, yeah.
Fluff. So, got this really, really beautiful light mix. It's nice and stable. Now we're going to add our egg yolks to the mix. So 5 egg yolks go in. And it's important to mention, this is obviously going to have an impact on the sort of the integrity of the mix. It just will make it a little bit looser, but it's also going to add a lot of richness to the mix at the same time. Okay, nice. So we've just folded in the egg yolks. And now I'm going to put in some salt, lightly folding it. So you've just worked so hard to put all that air in there. Just be really gentle with this stage. The origins of pancakes are pretty much like ancient. We've been making things, we've been making pancakes for thousands of years, but the main change came with the...
That part, I had no idea. Sometimes I research food, but I had no idea that pancakes were thousands of years old. I had no idea.
Sort of invention and the use of bicarb, which was, you know, an American thing. So the buttermilk pancakes that we get today always use bicarb and baking powder. The thing about this recipe and why it's so unique is there's obviously none of that in there, but this mix is incredibly, you know, a bit more laborious to make. Turning this mix over, and we want to work to get all of that flour incorporated in there whilst keeping as much sort of natural air that we've already incorporated into that mix. And then just as you've incorporated all of that in there, just add a touch of milk. Now it's almost too fluffy at this stage to make a really nice connection with the pan, so the milk just helps sort of let it down a little bit. And you should have this beautiful sort of voluminous, like very shiny cake mix. Just before that starts cooking,
I've never seen pancake mix like that before. But again, I usually don't eat this fancy stuff, so there's a lot of things I've never seen.
Get on and make a really beautiful sort of glaze. Personally, this is just my favorite way
butter
to make a maple glaze. What we're going to do with this
maple glaze
is we're going to take it.
That actually sounds really good. I'm guessing that's his own version of like syrup.
Past beurre noisette. So we're going to go to it's called a beurre noir. So it's literally black butter. You're going to be nervous doing this at home. If you're not nervous, you won't have taken it far enough. It needs to add...
Yeah, I probably would not make that at home ever. That sounds way too technical for me.
Absolutely smoke. And then what we're going to do is incorporate lots of reduced maple syrup in there. Now, maple naturally is reduced from like 100 litres down to this anyway. All we're actually doing is just sort of carrying on with the natural sort of reduction anyway. It basically makes something, I hate to admit this, it's going to be so bad, but I'm in love with the McDonald's maple syrup. It's so good. I don't know what they put in there. I think it's like corn, some nasty shit, but it's the perfect consistency for pancake. So this is
McDonald's syrup is really good. And like he said, that's probably some fake stuff, but I feel like fake stuff tastes good, you know.
McDonald's inspired maple glaze. Doing this can reduce on a medium heat, especially your brown butter. Never put it too high because it starts to foam. So we used to create litres of this in the restaurants, and you'd always see when a commie was doing it because they'd overfill the pan and then it'd foam out. So at this stage, it's quite an important part of the butter sort of caramelization process. But just turn it right down. I mean, I don't think there is a better smell on earth, unsurprisingly, for our channel than caramelizing butter. It just smells so good. So brown butter normally comes at about 140 degrees. Black butter is more in the region of 190 degrees. So it is super hot. And it will be smoking. And if it's not, then it's not dark enough. like, look at it right now. That is, I'd say that'd be like, you know, most people would be like, shit, that's burnt. Well, it's only just starting the process of turning it into black butter.
Yeah, I probably don't want anything smoking in my apartment. I have a very sensitive smoke alarm, so anything like that is a no-no.
So maple syrup wise, that's looking nice. Like I suppose more like a runny honey than a maple syrup. And at that point, I'm going to add our secret ingredient to this whole process, which just turns it into this incredibly intense, umami-rich, sweet bomb. So we've just turned the heat off on that maple syrup now. We're going to add in our liquid, which is some light soy sauce. So the soy is a really clever thing in this, because it's actually the
soy sauce and syrup? I've never heard of anyone ever doing that before, ever.
liquid element. And
That sounds crazy.
to add sort of really hot fat to a liquid like maple syrup, it's not naturally going to emulsify. All these emulsions tend to need some liquid to emulsify into. Soy gives you that liquid, but it also gives this intense umami hit at the same time. Whoever's doing the washing up's not very happy because the pan tends to get a little bit sticky on the bottom, but just give it a little.
It sounds interesting. Maybe I should try sometime. See how it tastes. I probably won't like it because I know sweet and savory mixes, but that kind of sweet and savory sounds like it doesn't go together.
Soak. But this is it. Now this is the critical point. Most people would take this off. This is where you've got to just trust the process. It's you can still see the bottom of the pan, and it's a very sort of opaque, dark brown color. You just got to take it just that little bit further until it starts to smoke, then take it off because it'll continue to caramelize and get darker. Okay, there we have it. It's smoking. It's very dark. That is beurre noir. And then just pass off your brown butter into another container. And then, even whilst it's still warm, we're just going to whisk that into our maple syrup. It kind of emulsifies nicely straight into that maple syrup.
Kind of reminds me of coffee.
Straight away. But what you want to do is just keep this kind of moving a little bit, because naturally it will start to separate a little bit. That's finished. That'll sit there quite happily whilst we make our pancakes. The recipe originally calls for a steamer, but we've tried to play around with it because I know you're not going to be steaming these at home. And now,
yeah, nobody's going to steam pancakes.
Nice non-stick pan. Non-stick pan.
I don't think I've ever heard of steamed pancakes before.
Really.
I mean, maybe it exists. It doesn't sound very good.
Important. This is almost brand new. It's been used about 4 or 5 times. So I'm going to use this. And because it's brand new, there's almost no need to oil or grease it. What you will get, and typically when everyone cooks their first pancake, it's always generally just a little bit fucked up. So the second one's always way better. Put in our first bit of mix. So you want to move fairly quickly whilst putting the mix in, because it's going to start, the process is going to start of it cooking straight away. And
most people in America, at least, put butter into the pan when they cook pancakes. How come you are not putting butter into the pan? A lot of people in America love that crispy, slightly crispy, but fluffy pancakes.
What I'm going to do, the way I'm putting the dough, the mix into the pan, is kind of mimicking how I want it to set. So I don't want to flatten it all the way to the sides of the pan. And then my little hack, which kind of mitigates the need to use a steamer, is just to put this little plate or bowl on, something that fits over the top. It's on quite a low setting. We want to keep checking it regularly to make sure it's not cooking too quickly, and you can kind of tell that from how much it's browning around the outside. The heat is on the lowest setting it can possibly go. So don't worry, it's already got all of the air in there. Normally when you're cooking pancakes, you need a level of heat to make the bicarb and baking powder sort of react, and then you get the lift. It's the opposite way around, because this has already got the air in there. It's a low, slow, basically caramelization process until you're happy. And you need to make sure that the top is set nicely as well. So this is, the golden rule is basically low and slow with these ones. Okay, so I've just taken the lid off just to check how it's cooking. It's only been about 3 or 4 minutes, but what's really nice to see is it's starting to set around the outside. Put that.
I mean, most pancakes should not be taking this long. Maybe 90 seconds at the most for a pancake.
Plate back on. It's kind of a bit of a leap of faith, but once you've done one, you'll know the time for the next one. We're nearly getting to flippage territory. And you can see it's kind of started to come up and rise. So now this is the moment of truth. So just gonna take our Maurice, just release it around the outside. Your wife's affection and your kid's breakfast hangs in the balance. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, so close. Right, that's the one that I'll eat then. But to be honest, it still looks pretty damn good. Plate goes back on. We're going to finish that cooking for around about 5 or 6 minutes. Obviously important to mention, if you have a pan lid, that would work better than a bowl. But this pan didn't come with a lid. It doesn't need a huge amount of time on the other side. Have you ever seen anything as beautiful as that? Whilst we cook the other one, we're just going to let that cool on a wire rack. I've just got some nice cold butter. Nice bit of salt on there. And then I'm just going to take out that last pancake. That is fucking beautiful.
That looks like a mushroom.
Beautiful. Whack that on top. Oh my god, look at those bad boys. And then do not shy away on the glaze.
I have never seen a pancake like that before. I mean, that butter and that syrup looks good, and I'm pretty sure that pancake looks good, but I've never ever seen a pancake like this before, so to me it looks very, very strange.
This is probably the nicest thing you could ever do for a family member. Make these sexy little pancakes. To test out these pancakes, I've got 2 very special guests. The boys from Jolly are going to come and verify.
Oh, Jolly.
If we nailed it.
Josh and Ollie.
I mean, it looks good.
It really does. Looks like a couple of berets with some butter on top.
Wow. Wow. Oh, it's more dense than I was expecting.
It's dense and light at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, what? That's really throwing me. Incredibly Moorish, isn't it? Like,
Worth the work, worth the effort.
Well, how long did this take you?
yeah, that's the question.
Solid 20-minute whisk.
Okay.
By hand. Quick review.
20 minutes of, okay.
So if it was me, it would be 5 hours. The kitchen would be utterly destroyed. And then it would look nothing like this. Certainly wouldn't taste.
Yeah, that's probably me too. That's why I use Aunt Jemima or Bisquick or something like that rather than doing all this. This requires a lot of patience, and most people just want to eat. You know, they don't want to spend all this time cooking.
Tastes like it.
You've tried a few of our recipes before.
Oh yeah. I'm a sucker for punishment.
But I'm sure it tastes really, really, really good.
It's like a dense souffle.
Yeah, it's more like a souffle than a pancake. So you're going to try this weekend, right?
Yeah, I will. I'll send you a picture.
I'll wait for that. Can't wait.
Delicious.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really delicious. And if I ever travel to the UK, maybe I'll stop by sometime at Fallow and ask for these pancakes if they open for breakfast. But yeah, it was another awesome video by Fallow. If you like their content, definitely hit the like button and subscribe. And if you enjoy my reactions to these videos and my content, hit the like button and subscribe because every little bit helps me make more of these videos. Until next time, bye.